Hello, everyone. It has been way too long. I'm super excited to talk to you guys today about 3 ways that you can easily reduce nonprofit team turnover. Now, as we all know, there's been quite a bit of layoffs, but we also know that there's still a talent pool mismatch happening across multiple industries. And so it's super important that if you have a good team, and when I say good team, people who care about the mission of your nonprofit, people who are willing to do what it takes to make the nonprofit successful, it's important that we keep them happy. So, today I want to talk to you guys about 3 easy ways that you can beat nonprofit event burnout and also reduce nonprofit team turnover. So, the first thing is we've got to understand, what does it actually cost us as a team member turns over? An important thing that a lot of business owners, nonprofit owners, people in the C suite don't always realize or remember in the heat of the moment when they're just trying to get things done is that the average employee takes about 6 months for you to get the return on investment. So, on average, it's going to take about 6 months for you to get another employee to add the same value to your organization as that current employee does. And most of us don't have 6 months to give to a new person without really needing to do it, right? So, what does this cost you beyond that time frame? It's going to cost you sponsorship dollars and donor dollars, because every moment that you don't have every person in your organization in the right space, fully invested in what it is they do, having the skill set and having the training, that's going to cost you sponsorship dollars in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through relationship deficits, whether it's through just a lack of understanding about how things work at your organization. The other piece is donor engagement. Once again, it's going to take a new person time to come on board, figure out how everything works, really understand who the major players are in your organization from a donor perspective and from a stakeholder perspective. And the other thing that we don't always talk about is that it's going to cost you family time. So the big picture here is we don't want our teams to be unhappy. We want to make sure that we're not causing them to turn over. And a lot of this often happens during these signature events, because event planning can be very stressful, not only for the organization, but for the team, for the executive director. There's a lot of things riding on this, and you have a board of directors to answer to. So it's really important that you have a solid team around you that can really help you march toward these goals. So the first thing is just simply understanding that it's important to reduce nonprofit team turnover. It's important to make sure that your team is happy and engaged and ready to go after whatever goals you set for them. Now, the next piece of this is really being able to take action to identify your true goals. Take action to be able to identify your true goals. So, if you understand what your true goals as an organization are, which always for nonprofits break down into 2 things. You got to increase donor engagement and you got to increase community impact, often at the same time. So understanding what it costs you when you have team turnover, really understanding the bandwidth of each team member, because most people are simply going to just pile on a little bit here, pile on a little bit there. And that is simply not enough. It's not enough to bring your team in and kind of disperse these little mini tasks for your event. It's not enough. And many times, especially when it comes to marketing your event, especially when it comes to getting sponsors and donors engaged, there's just going to be a natural gap that occurs. So, what is the answer? Simple. Hiring supplemental services. Hiring supplemental services. The good thing about supplemental services is it's not a permanent impact on your budget. You don't have to pay benefits and all these other things that come along with hiring a whole new team member that you might not be ready for yet. So, hiring supplemental services are an easy way to bring in an expert that comes up to speed relatively quickly in comparison to your 6 month time frame you're typically looking at when working with a consultant like myself. We're going to come in and understand the organization in like 2 to 3 weeks. Right? Big difference. And you get to actually see those real results in your team. You get to take things off their plate. You get to be super clear about what their role is in the event and what it isn't in the event. And the results we typically see when we come on board with clients, increasing in social media followers, an increase in donor engagement, and most importantly, an increase in sponsorship interest, which means that your organization spends a lot less money putting the event together and a lot more of your time really being able to articulate the impact that you have on a local, state, and even international level, depending on the size of your organization. So, when it comes to reducing your nonprofit team turnover, I want you to think about those big events, those large signature events, where it's going to take you some additional time, some additional support, and you have the resources to be able to come to a consultant like myself for your signature event and actually get the support you and your team need so that your team can continue to do what it is you actually hired them to do. What? Yeah, actually do what it is you hired them to do, and you can bring in the outside support like myself to come in and take over the marketing for the event so that you and your team don't have to worry about it. So, if this is something you're interested in, there should be a link either below or above, depending on what platform that you're watching this on. And you can simply click that link, put in your information, and then we'll take it from there. If this is the first video you're watching, go back to, I would say, at least 3 videos back, and you can really start to understand what this looks like, what it looks like to put together your own signature event, why they're so powerful for nonprofits, and how they really are a beacon of all the amazing impacts you've had and a great opportunity for you to get your organization in front of all the people that you want to get it in front of so that you can continue to grow your impact and further your donor engagement. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope that you're really starting to think about what are those times and instances where instead of bringing in supplemental services that I know we need, I decide to put a little bit on so and so's plate and a little bit on so and so's plate. And we all know that many hands make the work light, they make it easy. So if you need that support, reach out, think about it. We can talk through it, and I wish you guys a great rest of your week. Talk to you soon.